Now today we will go through J.J. Thomson experiment and milk and oil drop experiment, right? Using J.J. Thomson experiment, we will determine charge to mass ratio of an electron, right? Which we say as E upon m of an electron, and using milk and oil drop experiment, we will determine the charge on an electron, right? So first is J.J. Thomson experiment, right, to determine charge to mass ratio, right, which we also designate as or write as E upon m, right? So if you look at this diagram, we are already familiar with this diagram because in the previous video lectures we have seen the discovery of electron, right? Crookes tubes, if you remember Crookes experiment, when Crookes studied the conduction of gases, right, at low pressure, right, he used this similar arrangement, cathode ray tube, right? Now in this cathode ray tube, it's the same arrangement. This is your cathode, right, and this is your anode, right? So this cathode, the material of the cathode will produce cathode rays, right, which is nothing. Now we know that cathode rays is the stream of electrons, right, or the beam of electrons, and between the cathode and anode, right, we have any gas. Say we have any gas. When these cathode rays from the material of the cathode will collide with the gas molecules, it will ionize those gas molecules and produce electrons, right, which is again, electrons are nothing but cathode rays, right? So cathode rays would be produced by the ionization of gas and from the material of the cathode. Now what J.J. Thomson did to determine the E upon m ratio of an electron, he subjected when cathode rays would be produced from here, right, it will move straight, right? What he did in this cathode ray tube, he subjected this electron beam or cathode rays to magnetic field and electric field, right? This is your electric field and this is your magnet, which provides magnetic field, right? Now we know that when a charged particle, since we know that electrons are negatively charged, when electrons will travel through electric field or magnetic field, they will get deflected, right? In case of electric field, we have positive plate here, so the negative electrons would be deflected towards the positive plate. Similarly, in case of magnetic field, the arrangement is such that these electrons would be deflected in a direction opposite to the direction in which the electrons are deflected by electric field, right? We know that if electrons are getting deflected by electric field in this direction, then magnetic field will deflect electrons in equal and opposite direction, right? If electric field is deflecting this beam of electron is in this direction, then magnetic field will deflect the same beam of electron in this direction, in opposite direction, right? Now we will consider three cases, right? When only electric field is applied, when only magnetic field is applied, and when no field is applied, right? We'll see these three cases, right? And one more thing, in this arrangement, this electric and magnetic field is perpendicular to one another, and this electric and magnetic field is also perpendicular to the beam of electrons, to the cathode rays, right? Now this is a fluorescent screen, right? Why we use fluorescent screen? Because if any ray will collide or will strike this fluorescent screen, it will produce a shine. This fluorescent screen will shine, right, at whichever point these cathode rays will strike this fluorescent screen, right, due to which we'll get to know in which direction these cathode rays are deflecting, right? So this is the function of fluorescent screen. Now we'll take three cases. First is when only electric field is there, when only magnetic field is there, right, and when there is no electric and magnetic field, right. These are 3 points A, B and C. This point B, right, these cathode rays will strike this fluorescent screen at point B when no electric and magnetic field is applied. In the absence of electric and magnetic field, the cathode rays that are produced from here will strike this fluorescent screen at point B, right. That is, these cathode rays will move straight, right, will move straight and strike the fluorescent screen at point B, right. Now what, when we apply, when electric field is applied, when electric field is applied, when electric field is applied, the beam of electrons will deflect and will strike this fluorescent screen at point B, right. So electron beam or these cathode rays will strike at point A, right. Now when there is no electric field, only magnetic field, in the presence of magnetic field, this beam of electrons will strike this fluorescent screen at point C here, right. So when we have only magnetic field applied, magnetic field is applied, the electron beam will strike at point B here, right. This is clear. Now what about point B? When there is no electric and magnetic field, these cathode rays or a beam of electrons will move straight and will strike at point B, right. In the absence of electric field and B denotes magnetic field, electron beam will strike at, I'm sorry, this is point C, this is not B, sorry, this is B. The B electron beam will strike at point B, right. Now this deflection, we just need to consider one thing here. The deflection that is caused by these electric and magnetic field, right, the deflection depends on the charge that these cathode rays carry, right, and the mass of the negatively charged particles and the strength of electric and magnetic field, right. So you have deflections. This deflection depends on first charge on electron, right, second mass of electron, third is electric, the magnitude of electric and magnetic field. B denotes magnetic field, right. So more is the charge on the electron, more is the deflection, more is the mass, less would be the deflection. So less is the mass, more would be deflection. More is the value of E and B, more is the magnetic field, more would be the deflection. This is how it depends, right. Now since we know that electric field and magnetic field deflects the beam of electrons or these negatively charged particles in equal and opposite direction, right, and we are familiar with one thing, right, that when a charged particle enters a magnetic field, right, the magnetic force that gets, when it enters the magnetic field, the magnetic field will exert force on the charged particle, and the charged particle, in this case electron, will start moving in a circular form, right. It will move in a circle. This magnetic force will rotate this charged particle, which is electron, in circle, right. This is the concept that is in physics, right, in electromagnetism, right. Now since I said this electron beam of electron is deflected in this direction due to electric field, and in this direction when it strikes at point C due to magnetic field. Now we will consider one case. We will adjust this electric and magnetic field such that the beam of electron will strike at point B, where there is no deflection. Point B is point of no deflection. Point of no deflection. Why do we say it as point of no deflection? Because we have seen this case, the third case here. In the absence of electric and magnetic field, the electron beam will strike this fluorescent screen at point B, right? At point B, where there is no deflection. No electric and magnetic field means no deflection, right? Now, we can also make this beam of electrons, negatively charged particle, to strike the fluorescent screen at point B by adjusting this E and B. We can adjust the values of E and B such that the electron beam will strike at point B, right? And at point B, since I said that magnetic field, right, will deflect the beam of electron in a direction equal and opposite to that of electric field, right? Now when we apply equal and opposite electric and magnetic field, then this beam of electron will strike at point B. When this electric and magnetic field will exert equal and opposite force on these negatively charged particles, then the beam of electrons would strike at point B, which is a point of no deflection, right? From using this concept, we will find the value of E upon m, right? Now let's see it quickly. Since I said that when this electron enters, say, this magnetic field, when there is only magnetic field, right? Say this is an electron. When this enters this magnetic field, right, this magnetic field will exert a magnetic force on this electron and will move it in a circle. It will start rotating in the magnetic field like this. This is how it will rotate, right? So this electron, the electron would be exerted by magnetic force, right? This electron would be exerted by the magnetic force, right? The magnetic force that will get applied on this electron when it enters the magnetic field is B, right? It's B, right? B is the magnitude of magnetic field, right? E is the charge on this electron which is rotating due to this magnetic field, and U is the velocity of this charged particle, right? And we know one thing from physics again, that when this particle is moving in a circle, right, it is also exerted by a centrifugal force, right? Centrifugal force which will act in a direction opposite to this force which is exerted by magnetic field, right? So it will be acted by a centrifugal force which will act outside this circle, right? So as to balance this magnetic force, right? So this centrifugal force would be equal and opposite to this force due to magnetic field, right? And we know that this is mu square upon r. Centrifugal force is mu square upon r, right? These concepts are from physics, right? So make sure you understand these concepts, right? So now we will consider the case as, right, now we will take it as when electron enters magnetic field B, right, it acquires a circular path of radius r, like the diagram I have drawn, right? It acquires circular path of radius r due to magnetic field B, right? So the force, like I said, this force which is acted upon by magnetic field is equal and opposite to the centrifugal force, right? So we write it as when this electron is rotating in this magnetic field, this BEU is equal to mu square upon r, right, in magnetic field. In magnetic field, right? So E upon m, if you write it as E upon m would be u upon br, right? This is u upon br. This is equation 1. Now this is due to magnetic field. Now let's consider only electric field, when only electric field is there. Like when there is only electric field also exert force on a charged particle, in this case which is electron, which is equal to, force we know is equals to bq. Q is charge, which is E, right? So when force exerted by electric field, right? Now force E due to electric field is EE, right? So force due to electric field E, right, is equals to EE, right? E is the charge, E is the magnitude of, small e is the charge on the electron, capital E is your magnitude of electric field, right? So now for no deflection, right, like we have discussed earlier, for no deflection we will adjust the value of magnetic and electric field, right, such that the force exerted on the charged particle, that is electron, would be equal and opposite. Then only it will strike at point B, which is the point of no deflection, right? When, right, like to make this electron beam, strike at point B, which is the point of no deflection, right? Force due to magnetic field should be equal to force due to electric field. Force due to magnetic field is we have seen here, right, which is BEU, and force due to electric field it's EE, right? So from here we will get the value of U is equals to E upon B, right? EE will cancel out, therefore U is equals to E upon B. This is your second equation. So we will put the value of E here, therefore E upon M is equals to U is equals to E upon B, right? We will put the value of U here, so it will be E upon RB square. And this R, how will we calculate R? R is the radius of this circular path, right, of circular path due to magnetic field B, right? So what Thomson did, he took different gases, right? He repeated this experiment with different gases, different material of cathode, and different values of electric and magnetic field, right? And what he noticed, that the value of E upon M is always same for electrons, right? So Thomson found the value of E upon M to be same for different gases and different combinations of E and B, right? He took different gases, he varied the values of E and B such that this electron beam strikes at point of no deflection, and what he found that E upon m, the ratio of charge to mass, will remain same, right? Doesn't matter what is the material of the cathode or the gas present. We have seen this concept earlier also, right? So this is for electron. We have, so E upon m will remain same for all gases irrespective of material of cathode, right? And different values of E and B. E and B is adjusted such that this electron beam will strike at point B, right? And the value of E upon m was found to be 1.758820 10 to the power of 11 coulomb per gram, right? And this value of E upon m was found to be 1.758820 into 10 to the power of 11 coulomb per kg. This is the value of E upon m, which will remain same for all sample of gases and the material of the cathode, right? And E is always a negative charge, should remember that, right? So this is your J.J. Thomson model to determine the E upon m value for electrons, right? So E upon m value for electrons is this. No matter what gas you take and what is the material of the cathode, the E upon m value will remain same, right? So we are done with Thomson experiment. Now we'll come to this oil drop experiment. Let's first just revise this. What we have done in this is this cathode ray tube. In this cathode ray tube, right, we have subjected this beam of electron to magnetic field and electric field, and in the absence of electric and magnetic field, the beam of electron will strike at point B. We call it a point of no deflection, right? And in the presence of only electric field, this beam of electron will strike at point B, and in the presence of only magnetic field, it will strike at point C, right? This is a fluorescent screen, right? Now we can adjust the value of E and B such that this electron beam will strike at point of no deflection, right? Because we know that when this electron beam will enter this electric field, it will deflect it at point B, right? And the same electron beam would be deflected at point C by the magnetic field. That is, magnetic field will deflect the electron beam will equal an opposite direction, right? So there is a force that is exerted on this charged particle, which is electron, when it enters the electric or magnetic field, right? So we'll calculate the force. Here we have used mathematical derivations, small derivations. When this electron beam will enter the electric field, the magnetic field first. The magnetic field will exert magnetic force, which is BEU, right? And due to this force, this charged particle electron beam will move in a circular path of radius r, right? Now since it's moving in a circular path, right, it is exerted by a centrifugal force which acts in a direction opposite to the direction of the force exerted by magnetic field, right? So mu square upon r is equals to BeV, right? This is what we have taken. The concept is that centrifugal force is equal and opposite to the force exerted by magnetic field on this charged electron, right? So E upon m is U upon Br, right? Now the second case we have taken is the force exerted by electric field. The force exerted by electric field would be force is equals to EE, right? This is the force due to electric field, EE, right? Now the point of, since the concept that we have discussed, the point of no deflection, the electron beam will strike at point of no deflection when electric field, then when the force due to electric field and the force due to magnetic field is equal and opposite, right? So the case of no deflection is when the force EE is equals to this force due to electric field is equals to force due to magnetic field, right? So from here we find this u, right? U is the velocity with which electron is moving. So it's E, this is E upon B. We will substitute the value of EU from equation 2 in equation 1. What we get is E R B square, right? E is your magnitude of electric field, B is the magnitude of magnetic field, right? And R is the deflection that is caused by magnetic field, right? And from here we get this, the value of this E upon M, the ratio E upon M, and this ratio E upon M is found same for all sample of gases irrespective of the material of the cathode, right? Which is 1.758820 into 10 to the power of 11 coulomb per gram, right? And if this is for this E upon M remains same for electrons, right? Now if you remember, we have discussed this in previous lecture that E upon M for anode rays or positive charged particles which are cations. If you remember, positive charged particles is not same like that those of electrons. So E upon M for positively charged particles would depend on the nature of the gas. For different gases, E upon M would be different for positive ions which are cations, right? So E upon M for anode rays, right, depends on the nature of the gas. Depends on the nature of the gas, right? And here E upon M does not depend on the nature of the gas or the material of the cathode. It would be same for every sample, right? So we are done with this. Now we'll discuss this Millikan oil drop experiment in another lecture, right? Another lecture would be the continuation of this lecture only, right? We'll discuss this in next lecture, right? Thanks.